Good morning. My name is Nadira Young, and I am a fourth-year, sixth-grade language arts teacher at Roland Park Elementary Middle School. It was 2 days after Freddie Gray was murdered that I was standing in my classroom when a student walked up to me and asked, "Why do the police keep killing us?" My first-year teacher mind searched for the words to articulate the brutality that was happening here in America. The first time I talked about gun violence with my students was my first year teaching. I talked with them about police brutality and Black Lives Matter. I met my students at a number of Black Lives Matter protests, protesting gun violence and the brutality against Black and brown people. 4 years later, I am still talking to my students about gun violence. For some, gun violence is a constant, and for others, this school shooting hit close to home. I stand here with you all under the guise of never again, while keeping Black Lives Matter close to my heart, as one of the principles is to end gun violence. The night of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, I awoke at a sweat at 4 in the morning. I found myself trying to figure out where I would hide all of my students if an active shooter came into our building. How long could my body protect their body from bullets? How could I possibly get my students out of a door if I'm on the 3rd floor? How efficient is our lockdown drill? I went to work early that day and stood at the front of my classroom, searching for any and all spaces I could fit 6th grade students. I walked around that day saying again and again, I don't know where to hide my students. As I started class, I looked at each of my students' faces and hugged them in my mind. I looked at some knowing that this was the scariest thing they had ever experienced. I looked at others and remembered, like me, gun violence is something they are faced with every single day. I stand here today to let all of you know that some of the adults have let you down. No student should have to come to school fearing they may never leave again. No staff member should have to figure out how to hide 32 of her students in a classroom. No principal should ever have to practice having an active shooter drill in their school to be sure that they are protected. No parent should ever fear that they may never see their children again. But you do, and I do, and we all do. We stand here today to say never again, not in our schools, not in our homes, not on the streets of Baltimore City, and not at the hands of the police. We say never again. Today, when I say never again, I speak for the 17 students of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School who did not live to see their high school graduation. I speak for my students whose family members have been killed at the hands of others here in Baltimore City. I speak for the countless number of Black and brown people who have been killed at the hands of the police with no justice for their lives. I speak for my 14-year-old self who will never see my brother again. I speak for my future students and for my current students and hope that they and that you all will not be here again next year protesting the same thing we are here doing today. Know that I stand with you in the fight against gun violence as I have since I first stepped into my classroom. You all, every single student, are worth fighting for. To quote a former Black Panther member, Assata Shakur, "It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains."